Hey, what's going on guys? Alex Mizuki here from Mr. Build It. A few of you have been asking to make a video how to repair a drywall. So, we don't have a hole. Let's make a hole. This is a strong wall. There we go. We got a hole. We got a bigger hole. Let's fix this hole. So I do want to go on a record saying this saddens me to create this. It's a problem that didn't exist and now it exists, but we're doing it in the name of what? Science and education. This is, I don't know, a typical hole that you'd see in some kids at the house being rambunctious, that apparently are more rambunctious than my mallet. I don't know. So one of the first things we need to do is, this is a classic kind of situation where you have a stud down the middle and then nothing on the sides here. So one of the first things we're going to do is clean up this area to make sure we can patch it up with a nice clean sheet of drywall, and I'll show you how to patch it up from there. So in the meantime, I'm going to take some kind of straight edge and create a nice straight square around it. All right, so at this point we need to clean this area out. There's a right tool for the right job. Let me show you what it is. This is a drywall knife. You could use a utility knife and start scraping away. It's just, it can get it done, but it's a lot harder. This is not expensive at all, about $8. And just go back and... All right, so now that our area is prepped, because in a most ideal situation, the studs would be basically overlapping these corner edges, or these sides, we could secure the drywall right into it. But this is your classic scenario where the studs are not that close together, or in a perfect situation where you want those studs. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our drywall, we're gonna pick out a drywall, we're gonna cut the exact shape here, and then we're gonna create some reinforcement pieces. So the piece that we're gonna need is going to be 9 1/4 by 10. So we have our 9 1/4 by 10. Okay, this is cool. You guys are gonna like this. So here's our straight edge part. We're gonna go 9 1/4. So this is a square that we're gonna need. Watch this. You take any kind of straight edge you have, you lay it down. You take a knife, all right? An old beat up knife like this. Now it only seared it, only went down just a little bit, maybe like 1/8 of an inch. We're gonna flip it over. Watch this. Already done. Take the knife on the backside, trim it off. That piece is done. Get this out of the way. Move that up right there. Put the straight edge down. Look at it. It did not cut all the way through. Karate chop. Flip it over. Cut it off. Boom. We have the perfect 9 1/4 by 10 piece. Let's go and test it. Alrighty, as you can see, we have a nice good fit here, but obviously there's no way to secure it. So here's a little trick that we do. We're gonna take some screws, pop them in the corner. These are just scrap pieces of wood. In fact, this is not even wood, this is MDF. And the corners are some of the most important parts to connect, just make sure that everything's flat. So now we have two flush, well not two, but 4 flush corners here that this will sit perfectly in. So now we're just gonna throw some screws around. Again, important to countersink them a little bit, again, because we don't want to fight that when we put the mud and the tape and all that stuff on. All right, the hard part's done. All right, so for the next part is the mud and tape part. Basically, you're creating we're marrying this piece to the rest of the pieces, essentially. Now, you'll need a couple of things. You'll need drywall tape, very cheap, paid $2 for this. You'll need a 6-inch, maybe even a little bit smaller putty knife if you want. 6-inch kind of does 2 steps at once. This is an all-purpose pre-mixed mud already. You can get the bags and mix it yourself, but I say why? Just use this stuff. And the first day, we're gonna tape this off first. So to do that, we're just gonna put a layer exactly where the seams are gonna be, filling it in to where the joints are. Once we got a good amount there, then we'll put the tape over it to actually stick to. part application is super simple. We'll break off some of the scrap. We're gonna find the length here, rip it, put it right in the middle of the seam. Okay, we're gonna use our putty knife and we're gonna press it in. Oftentimes it squeezes some of the stuff out, some of the mud. So I like to return the favor and put it back where I got it. I like to cover the mud tape with the mud. It allows for better penetration and better adhesion. You don't want little air pockets that are dry that basically can rip off this thing. Okay, so on to the rest. So our wall is patched up, our drywall tape is on, the first layer of the actual finishing project is done. So we're gonna let this dry overnight, and then tomorrow we're gonna do the next layer of the mud, and I'll show you what the next steps are. So I will see you guys tomorrow. So at this point, we're gonna start thinning out the compound solution. We're gonna be using our 10-inch blade, our 10-inch drywall blade. And you wanna mix this compound solution up to kind of like a sour cream or even thinner than mayo. Maybe, perfect, ketchup. Get it to a ketchup consistently where it's running off of the blade. And then once you get it there, it's gonna be nice and easy to actually start blending in the tape that we got working on the wall. So let's get back to it. So as you can see now, the benefits of using a 10-inch blade is you're actually blending the tape into the rest of the area that we're working with here. And so at this point, you want to put enough to cover the tape, but also not too much to not create another extra layer on top. So just enough. And it takes a little bit of finagling, a little bit of finesse where the amount of pressure you distribute on the high and low spots. But guys, it's so easy, just give it a try. All right, so for our last and final step, as you can see, this is nice and smooth. You can't even see where the damage was taking place and where the old meets the new drywall. So the last part is the texture. Now with texture, you kind of have basically two types of textures for the most part. You have the textures that are orange peel. I'll show you a picture right there. Or you have one like this, which is a knockdown. This is a very light knockdown. Sometimes there's a little more coarse or heavier knockdowns, but essentially there's like a layer of on top and a lower layer on the bottom, and they just kind of transition like that. Now, if you have an orange peel texture, you will use a product like this, similar to that, and kind of match the coarseness of the actual texture. And if you got a knockdown like this, I will show you how to do it very simply. So we have our mud mixed up, nice and light. You can use any kind of putty knife. And so the way I do it is simply get a little bit on an edge right there, and I'm just gonna splatter around. Now remember, when it comes to matching everything, whether it's orange peel or knockdown, the wider the better. The better match, the less likely somebody's to see any kind of difference or transitions. All right, now here's the easy part. Just knock it down. Nice and lightly, nothing heavy. Boom, and just like that, we're gonna throw some paint on it and you can barely tell that anything's there. Well, as you guys can see, with the fresh coat of paint and the proper texturing, can't even tell that we put a hammer through the wall. Good work. Well, that is it for me this week. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you like videos like this and you're brand new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button right over there. We put out tons of home improvement and woodworking videos that you guys might enjoy. Make sure you like, comment, and share this video with your friends. If you have any questions regarding drywall or any other home improvement projects, make sure you follow me on social media. I'll put links down in the description below for you guys to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and all those other cool platforms. Tune out this week. We'll see you guys next week. See ya. Bye.